नहीं नहीं, वो को-होस्ट बनाना है किसी को वो। हाँ फिर से बोलो, 3 जो डॉट्स है इनको क्लिक करने पे तो कुछ आ नहीं रहा है इसके अंदर। ऐसा कुछ सेटिंग्स है, इन कॉल प्रोग्रेस है, शो कैप्शन है, मीटिंग सेफ्टी। मीटिंग सेफ्टी में करके देखे नहीं, इसमें भी कुछ नहीं है। ई-सेल हाँ आ गया आ गया। अरे को-होस्ट बनाया, को-होस्ट किसी को को-होस्ट बनाना है यार। क्या बनाना? को-होस्ट मतलब मैं होस्ट को, मेरे को फिर क्या सबको एडमिट करना पड़ रहा है। वो मैं लीव करना चाह रहा हूँ कॉल, तो वो
सर मुझे कर दीजिए एप्लीकेशन।
हाँ पर ये नहीं वो करते ही नहीं आ रहा है ना इसमें।
अच्छा
लीव कर रहे हैं तो ऑटोमेटिक बन जाएगा।
नहीं बनेगा क्या? लीव करने से अपने आप बन जाएगा कोई क्या?
नो सर,
नहीं तो ये नहीं, वो आखिरी वाले 3 पे करने से तो नहीं हो रहा है
सर आखिरी वाले नहीं सर, ऊपर हेडिंग में मीटिंग का नेम लिखा होगा एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बूट कैंप।
अच्छा ठीक है
हो गया ना?
हो गया क्या शशि प्रकाश जी?
हाँ सर कुछ आया, यू आ रहा, आया था अभी से।
हो गया ना? ठीक है, अब मैं लीव कर देता हूँ।
ओके सर।
थैंक यू सर।
ठीक है सर, हो रहा है।
ठीक है मैं लीव कर रहा हूँ।
यस सर ओके।
We'll be starting the event in 5 minutes.
Hello. If you're waiting for me, then I'm already in. If you're waiting for the students to come in, then it's fine.
Yes, sir. We are waiting for more people to join. We'll start in a few minutes. Thank you.
Sash, sir,
Selling is not a pushy, winner-takes-all march act. It is an empathy-led, process-driven, and knowledge-intensive discipline because, in the end, people buy from people. Subrato Bachi expressed it perfectly.
Good evening to esteemed guest speakers, distinguished faculty members present here, and my dear friends. On behalf of one of the Central India's finest entrepreneurship clubs, E-Cell IET DAVV, I, Priyansh Waghela,
Myself, Aditi Shivare,
welcome you all to Entrepreneurship Bootcamp' 2021, organized by E-Cell IET DAVV in collaboration with Institutions Innovation Council, DAVV Indore, a Ministry of Education's Innovation Cells and AICTE's joint initiative to promote entrepreneurship and innovation in higher technical institutes.
Entrepreneurship entails a great deal more than just developing a business empire. Having an entrepreneurial mindset from the outset provides you an advantage over your competitors. Where you arrive depends on your attitude and behavior along this voyage.
And who is better to learn about empire? The individual who quit his IAS ambition and goes on to run a tea shop, which now has a revenue of more than 100 crores. Let us all extend our warm greetings to Mr. Anubhav Dubey, an entrepreneur, TEDx speaker, and a UNYCC awardee. He is the founder of the realm Sutta Bar with 145 outlets and counting in India, Dubai, Oman, and Nepal. Sutta Bar has served 0.9% of the world's population. He is also a TEDx speaker who has spoken on hundreds of platforms and inspired millions through his journey. Today, he tells us in detail the entrepreneurial mindset, the key skills, attitude, and behavior.
Welcome, sir.
Sir,
Thank you so much for having me. What I'm supposed to do? Am I supposed to tell the story from the very beginning? That is what I'm supposed to. Or you guys are going to ask the question from the
Yeah.
very start?
So we are going to
you
ask
can
you
inspire them.
questions.
Yeah.
Fine. Go ahead then.
Okay, sir. So we have heard that you were preparing for IAS, then chose entrepreneurship. What made you decide that this was the right field for you?
See, from the very beginning, when I was in junior school, so I used to exchange, my answer for some goods. Like नटराज की पेंसिल ले ली, नॉनडस्ट की रबर मिल गई. So that time we were not aware about the fact that it is wrong. ये ethical नहीं है, moral values इतने अच्छे से नहीं आते थे. तो ये चीज चेंज करता था. तो आई गॉट टू नो कि यार हम लोग यार ये बिजनेस ही है जो मैं स्टार्टिंग से करता था फॉर एक्सचेंजिंग ऑफ आंसर्स, और उसके जगह में अब एक टैटू मिल जाना. देन उसके बाद में व्हेन आई वाज इन 11th क्लास, आई थिंक तब हम लोग क्या करते थे, सेकंड सबके पॉकेट मनी जो भी पैसा मिलता था वो मैं मांग लेता था, लोग मुझे इजीली दे भी देते थे. और उससे फिर मैं सेकंड हैंड मोबाइल खरीदता था, और मोबाइल के बहुत क्रेज रहता था उस टाइम पे. नए आते थे, बड़े बड़े टैबलेट मोबाइल आते थे, तो उस मोबाइल को मैं चलाता था, सबको चलाने के लिए भी देता, जिसने भी पैसे दिए रहते थे, और उसके बाद बेच भी देता था प्रॉफिट में. सो आई गॉट टू नो कि आई कैन डू बिजनेस. सब चीज़ की यार, सीए की तैयारी की, कैट की, आईएएस की, सब नहीं हो पा रहा था. तो लगा किस चीज़ में अच्छे हैं, इवेल्युएट किया. सो गॉट टू नो कि यार वो धंधे में अच्छे हैं, तो चलो वही करते हैं, ये सब तो नहीं हो पा रहा है. तो आई ट्राइड एवरीथिंग एंड एट द एंड आई डिसाइडेड कि यार चलो अब धंधा करते हैं.
That's a very interesting story.
Well, sir, how did you come up with the idea related to the food and beverage industry?
See, first of all, we had very limited capital in our hand. मेरे तो पापा को पता नहीं था, तो मेरे पास तो थे नहीं. तो आनंद had the capital of 3 lakh rupees. So we decided to do, हम लोग करना क्या है. तो हम लोग क्या करें, 50-50 रुपए का पेट्रोल डलवा के अपनी 220 पल्सर में घूमने लग गए. तो हम लोग ये देखने के लिए घूमते थे कि यार क्या किया जाए, यार धंधा क्या करें, बिजनेस करना क्या चाहिए. हम लोग ऐसे घूमते रहते, तो वी सॉ, आई रियलाइज वन थिंग कि यार यहाँ पे हर जगह पे चाय की गुमटी में अच्छी भीड़ रहती है। तो हमने बोला कि चाय चूज करते हैं। और फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग वी वांटेड टू डू द रियल एस्टेट बिजनेस, लेकिन उसके लिए कैपिटल बहुत चाहिए थी, तो वो हमारे पास थी नहीं। सो वी चोज चाय, क्योंकि इट इज द हाईएस्ट कंज्यूमर बेवरेजेस ऑन प्लैनेट। हमने देखा भी कि हर जगह भीड़ रहती है। तो हमको लगा कि डिमांड सेंट्रिक चीजें इसको चालू करेंगे और हमारे पास कैपिटल जितनी है तो हम चला ले जाएंगे। दैट्स व्हाई वी केम अप विद द आइडिया ऑफ हैविंग द F&B, a चाय का स्टॉल, एंड देन इट वेंट वेल, सो वी स्टार्टेड सेलिंग द फ्रेंचाइज आउट ऑफ इट।
Wow, sir, that's very clever of you.
So, as running a startup takes a lot of perseverance, where did you find the motivation to continue on this journey?
Motivation of doing doing a startup?
Yes, sir. So, and continuing on this journey of being an entrepreneur.
See, as I told you, I got the वो तो ऐसा हो गया कि यार इतनी सारी तैयारी की, कुछ हुआ नहीं, तो लेट्स डू द स्टार्टअप नाउ। और जो कंटिन्यू मोटिवेशन, देयर आर सो मेनी अप एंड डाउन्स व्हिच केम इन दिस जर्नी। आई मीन आई कांट इवन टेल यू कि कितने अप एंड डाउन्स आए थे, लेकिन मोटिवेशन, एक तो खुद को मोटिवेट करते रहना चाहिए यार, अपने आप को, खुद को भी। देयर इज नो बेटर मोटिवेटर इन दिस होल वर्ल्ड देन यू कैन यू मोटिवेट योरसेल्फ। और फिर अगर नहीं होता ना, तो आपके पास कुछ लोगों की लिस्ट होनी चाहिए जो आपको बहुत प्यार करते हैं, जिनको आपके ऊपर बहुत यकीन रहता है। जैसे मैं अपनी दीदी का नाम मैंने नाम लिख रखा है। मेरी मम्मी का हमेशा मैं राजा बेटा रहा हूँ, भले कुछ कितना भी गलत काम करो, बोला हाँ ये मेरा राजा बेटा, ये तो सब निपट लेगा। तो एक वो चीजें रहती हैं, जब भी मेरे पास लगता है मैं अपनी मम्मी को फोन लगा लेता हूँ, वो एक मोटिवेटिंग फैक्टर हो जाता है। कई लोगों के फीडबैक्स रहते हैं, कस्टमर्स के फीडबैक्स रहते हैं, कई फैंस के फीडबैक्स रहते हैं, जो मैं हमारी फैमिली उनके स्क्रीनशॉट पढ़ लेता हूँ, वो भी बहुत मोटिवेटिंग फैक्टर हो जाता है।
That's very motivational.
And there's not only one thing जिसके लिए हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं ना, thousands of families are dependent on this startup, you know. So अगर हम नहीं करेंगे तो उनका घर कैसे चलेगा? So it's not just you doing for yourself, you're doing for the entire thousands of families. तो उन हजारों लोग का दारोमदार आपके ऊपर, आपको काम तो करना ही पड़ेगा, आपको मोटिवेटेड रहना पड़ेगा, आगे काम करना ही पड़ेगा, नहीं तो उनका पेट कैसे भरेगा?
Yes.
So, sir, how did you spread the word about your startup in the initial stages?
मार्केटिंग की बात कर रहे हैं आप?
हाँ.
मार्केटिंग में बहुत फेमस भी हुआ की जगह पे, तो हम लोग ने इनिशियली सबसे पहले तो गर्ल्स हॉस्टल चूज किया। यू नो, गर्ल्स हॉस्टल के पास में ओपन करेंगे कि गर्ल्स का क्राउड हमने गैदर कर लिया, तो लड़के अपने आप आ जाएंगे। There's nothing wrong in it. See, we all know there is a natural attraction for a woman towards a man and man towards a woman. We knew that psychology from the very beginning, and we used it very, smartly at that time. So we opened our first shop near a girls' hostel, and we made that first shop according to the girls. हम लोग लड़कों को तो देखा नहीं कि लड़कों को क्या पसंद है, नहीं लड़के आएंगे तो लड़के अपने आप आ जाएंगे। चॉकलेट चाय चालू कर दी हमने, लड़कियों के पास में चालू किया, तो जो उनको गाने पसंद है वो हम बजाते थे वहाँ पे। तो कलर वगैरह हम लोग थोड़ा उस हिसाब से अच्छा किया था। फिर हमने नाम ही ऐसा रखा था, चाय सुट्टा बार, which inculcates the curiosity in the people's mind. So यार ये क्या खुला है, ये नया चाय सुट्टा बार खुला है। और हम लोग आपस में ये काम भी करते थे, मैं और आनंद आपस में एक दूसरे से बात भी करते थे, कहीं पे भी चले जाते थे ना भीड़ वाली एरिया में, तो आपस में मूवी से निकल रहे एकदम से कहीं से भी भीड़ वाले से आपस में बात करते, अरे यार वो चाय सुट्टा बार सुना है, बहुत चलता है यार, चल अपन घूम के आते हैं वहाँ पे, आपस में एक दूसरे से। तो लोगों को लगता है क्या है इस चीज के बारे में लोग बात कर रहे हैं। फिर बहुत सारे मार्केटिंग के टेक्टिक्स अपनाए यार। हम लोग के दोस्त बहुत हैं, तो इनिशियली इस डेज में हम लोग ने क्या किया कि हम लोग की दुकान एकदम से कैसे चले, कोई जानता तो था नहीं, तो हम अपने दोस्तों को बुला लेते थे, सारे दोस्त आ जाते थे, वहां पे खड़े रहते थे, तो लोगों को लगता है यार इतनी भीड़ है कि ये अभी नया खुला, इतनी भीड़ है, इतना चलता है, ऐसा क्या देता है? तो लोगों के अंदर अगेन एक क्यूरियोसिटी डेवलप हुई के प्रोडक्ट के लिए, तो वी गॉट द एक्सपोजर ऑफ द प्रोडक्ट एज वेल। नाउ व्हाट इज द एज पॉइंट, व्हाट इज द डिफरेंट in the other chai walas and us? So that was the flavor and the cooler. So we made the edge point from by that. हमने एक अच्छा सा एटमॉस्फेयर बनाया, वहाँ पे गाने चलाए। सो इनिशियली हमने ऐसे मार्केटिंग की भाई।
That's like very interesting ideas.
Now that CSB is present in the countries other than India as well, what were the challenges that you initially faced in reaching the level that you are now?
See, the challenges are always there and will be there, I think, because the entrepreneurship by definition it means कि आपको problem solving होना चाहिए और problem तो आती रहती है. So initially the problem was because we are into the offline business, you know. तो offline business में क्या problem आती है? आप काउंटर में खड़े हो चाय बेच रहे हो तो हमसे पैसा लेगा, तो दादा गुंडे, फिर द लोकल पॉलिटिशियन, इवन द एडमिशन पुलिस के डंडे बहुत चलते थे, क्या जिसमें भीड़ रहती है. Probably we are the youngest country in India जिसमें youngest company in India जिसमें 5 साल में 2 बार नार्कोटिक्स के छापे पड़े हैं, तो क्या बेचते क्या मिला के. So there are n number of challenges and n number of problems which came from the very beginning, and reaching out to the other countries. स्टेपिंग स्टोन इनिशियली जो पहली सीढ़ी रहती है ना, पहला पड़ाव रहता है, वो साला बड़ा मुश्किल रहता है. फिर उसके बाद थोड़ा सा चीजें स्मूथ होती रहती है, धीरे धीरे धीरे. प्रॉब्लम तो रहती है, थोड़ी थोड़ी स्मूथ होती रहती है. प्रॉब्लम के लेवल जरूर बढ़ जाते हैं, लेकिन आपको करने की क्षमता आ जाती है क्योंकि आपने किया हुआ है, तो आप इतना डरते नहीं हो. तो जब हम लोग दुबई में ओपन किए हमने, तो हम लोग पहली बार जब खुद गए दुबई, तो हम लोग तो पहले एकदम चकरा गए, नो. एक तो इतना एक्साइटेड थे कि पहली बार दुबई जा रहे हैं, 5 स्टार होटल में रुक रहे हैं, यू नो, एमिरेट्स एंड ऑल, दुबई, चकाचौंध, सब तो हम खुद ही खो गए. पहला ट्रिप तो हमारा पूरा बर्बाद हो गया, बोले लो घूमने में रह गया. सेकेंड ट्रिप हम लोग यहाँ से प्लज करके गए कि नो दिस टाइम विल वर्क. तो हमने बहुत समझा उसको. दुबई इज वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट, इट वर्क्स अकॉर्डिंग टू द FDA, फूड एंड ड्रग एसोसिएशन ऑफ अमेरिका के हिसाब से काम करते हैं वो. तो यू नो वहाँ पे नाइफ भी अलग अलग कलर की रहती है, 3 नाइफ हर चीज के लिए अलग. यू कैंट यूज योर हैंड टू ओपन टैब फॉर यू नो हैंड वॉश, यू हैव टू यूज योर नी. इट इज फ्रीकिंग टफ, इट इज वेरी स्ट्रिंजेंट, और बहुत हाइजीन मेंटेन करना था बहुत ज्यादा, जो कि हम इंडिया में रहते हुए इतना नहीं करते. वी गॉट टू लर्न दैट. फिर वो चालू किया. वहाँ पे बहुत हर चीज टफ थी कि आपको वहाँ पे इकोनॉमी डिपार्टमेंट से आपको परमिशन नहीं मिलती कि आप फ्री चाय बेच सको, आप पैम्पलेट बेच सको, वहाँ पे आर्टिस्ट नाइट करा सको, यहाँ पे कुछ भी परफॉर्मेंस करा सको, कुछ भी परमिशन नहीं मिली. तो एक व्यक्ति ने मेरे को वहाँ से पूछा क्या तुम इंडिया में चला लेते हो, कि आई थिंक वो पाकिस्तानी था या अरबी था, आई डोंट नो. तो उसने मुझसे पूछा क्या आप चला लेते हो, पाकिस्तानी था शायद. तो उसने मुझसे पूछा क्या आप इंडिया में चला लेते हो, यहाँ पे चला लोगे. तो मैंने पूछा आप दुबई की पॉपुलेशन कितनी है, तो बोला कि 20 लाख. तो मैंने बोला इतना हमारे जबलपुर की पॉपुलेशन है यार, हम लोग चला लेंगे. हमने भी घाट घाट का पानी पी रखा है इंडिया में. हमारे यहाँ पे भी हर जगह पे भाषा, स्वाद और यू नो अलग अलग बदलती है. तो फिर उसके बाद में द वेरी फर्स्ट डे द टर्न अराउंड वाज 2000 पीपल, नॉट जस्ट फ्रॉम दुबई, बल्कि फुजैरा, अजमान, अबू धाबी, यू नो, शारजा, every from people from everywhere came that day, and it was a grand opening. और फिर ऐसे हमारा ओमान में भी हुआ. Now we are opening in Nepal, and we have recently incorporated a company UK, US and Canada. So we are coming with 10 outlets in all these 3 countries.
Well, a journey without actual challenges shouldn't be called a journey, and this is a perfect example, I guess.
So, who were the people in your team at the beginning, and like what role did they play?
People those who were with us in the beginning are the pillars of the company. Me, Anand, Rahul and Manoj, 4 people were there. You know, me and Anand being the founder, Anand being Rahul being the director, and Manoj being one of the who used to manage everything, who is the head chef till now. तो मतलब मनोज के बारे में आपको बताता हूँ. मनोज इज एन ऑर्फन, वो एक अनाथ है और उसके मम्मी पापा नहीं है. सो वो पहले एक डेंटिस्ट के यहाँ पे तिलक नगर में जूते चप्पल जमाया करता था. और हमने जब स्टार्टिंग में जब उसको रखा तो हमने बोला भाई देख हमारे पास 2 महीने पैसे अभी हम लोग कैसे दें, है ही नहीं, तू साथ में काम करेगा. तो बोला हाँ भैया करूँगा. सब उसने सीखा चाय बनाना, उसने मेहनत किया 2 महीने. आज he is in a very good position in the company. He manages and trains every individual, those who take the franchise from us. आज उसके पास घर है, लिटरली घर है उसके पास, गाड़ी है, he travels by air now. अभी उसके हम लोग US का वीजा अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, so he will be going to London very soon. So the basic pillar at the initial was very important, and we have to be strong in every situation. जो हम लोग जितना उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया ना, हम लोग हमेशा स्ट्रांग रहना पड़ेगा कि ये जो हम लोग का घर है बनाया हुआ, ये कहीं मतलब जरा सा भी इसमें क्रेक ना आए, जरा सा भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं हो स्ट्रक्चर में. So basic pillars are very strong for the structure of the company.
So, sir, is there any secret behind like you being a good CEO? Any secret?
See, I don't know. I'm good or bad, but I'm trying very hard to learn things every day from our employees, from the senior, from the mentors. You know, जिससे भी हम लोग सीख सकते हैं. And I don't know, is there any secret or not? But the secret is to keep going and keep learning from the people. My fundas might work in your company, might not work in your company. Your fundas might work in my company, might not work in my company. So fundas basically आप खुद बनाते हो, आप काम कर सकते हो. So we cannot say whose funda is going to work. So there is no secret. I think it's just one thing that you have to keep going, and you have to hustle a lot, and you have to do smart work as well while hustling.
Yes, sir.
So knowing what you know now, is there anything you would have done differently when you were first starting out?
Of course. I mean, हम लोग ने बहुत सारी गलतियां की हैं इनिशियली, और उससे हमने सीखा. तो हम लोग शायद वो गलतियां नहीं करते तो सीखते भी नहीं. तो बिना ठोकर खाए ठाकुर नहीं बनता आदमी. तो हम लोग कैश बर्न से बचते बेसिकली. बहुत पैसा हमने कई जगह पे खर्च कर दिया था, जो हम लोग नहीं करते, लेकिन हम लोग सीखते भी नहीं. फिर कैसे सीखते? देयर इज अ यू नो, हर चीज की लर्निंग कॉस्ट होती है. तो हमने वो लर्निंग कॉस्ट पे की. हम लोग इनिशियली ना, हमसे कोई काउंटर पे आके कुछ बोलता था ना, तो हम लोग भिड़ जाते थे, उससे लड़ जाते थे. तो थोड़ा सा गर्म खून था ये सब चीज, तो हम लोग वो नहीं करता. मैं अगर मुझे मालूम होता कि अगर मैं अभी लर्निंग लेता, तो मैं वो लड़ता भिड़ता नहीं. मैं समझता कि पांचों उंगली बराबर नहीं होती है. या पीपल जो लड़ जाते हैं, लेकिन आफ्टर ऑल एवरी इंडिविजुअल इज आवर कस्टमर. सब लक्ष्मी है, सब पैसे लेके आ रहे हैं. वेदर ही इज अ गुंडा मवाली फॉर द सोसाइटी, बट फॉर अस ही इज कस्टमर.
Yes.
Well, sir, what have you enjoyed the most about like starting your own company?
Again, the learning experience and the journey, it is marvelous. I mean, the journey might be a roller coaster for us, but it gave us so many of goosebumps, so many very good views from the top, and you know, sliding again to the bottom and then going again to the top. So there was so many up and downs, but the journey was beautiful, and we are still looking forward to have a journey like that only. Again, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि अभी we have faced 2 COVID you know, lockdowns. उसके बाद भी we are doing good quite now. So that's a journey, and we are loving it. We're learning it from it.
Sir, while working in CSB, what's your favorite hilarious moment you have experienced?
There are so many hilarious experiences. And hilarious would be one, hilarious and a little scary. When my father reached our first outlet, when he got to know that you know, we are doing business, this chai, we are selling chai, because he didn't knew about it. तो जब उनको मालूम पड़ा, वो आए, तो हमको लगा बहुत जूते पड़ेंगे भाई. तो ना, हम लोग सब जितने भी दोस्त लोग थे, हम सब साथ में. मैंने बोला मैं अकेले नहीं मार खाऊंगा भाई, सब आओ. तो सब लोग हम लाइन से खड़े हो गए. उस दिन तो हम लोग की सिट्टी विट्टी गुल थी, लेकिन फॉर्चुनेटली पापा ने कुछ ऐसा मारा वाला नहीं, ना डांटा ना कुछ बोला, बस देखे और चले गए. तो दैट डे वी रिमेम्बर, हम लोग बुके बुके लेके आए थे पापा के लिए, कि पापा को बुके देके शांत करेंगे. वो कुछ भी काम नहीं आया, देखे और चले गए. और फिर उसके बाद में मतलब धीरे धीरे समझ गए कि हाँ ठीक है, कर तो रहा है कुछ.
All the dads have the same mentality.
True that. So they just every dad loves मतलब अपने बच्चों को तो प्यार करते ही हैं यार, उनको तो ये लगता है कि अच्छा ही करे ये लाइफ में, सो उनके हिसाब से जो चीज सही लगती है वो उस चीज को इंडिकेट करते हैं. बीइंग एन एंटरप्रेन्योर एट दैट एज, पापा को लगता था कि यार सरकारी नौकर होता तो ज्यादा अच्छा रहता है, इसके लिए कंफर्टेबल रहता, अच्छी पे मिलती है, रुतबा रहता है, रिस्पेक्ट रहती. तो उनको लगा कि ये क्या कर लिया, इसको इतना पढ़ाया लिखा, इतने पैसे खर्च के थोड़ा चाय वाला बन गए. तो वो मेंटालिटी थी,
Well, sir, apart from the CSB, do you have any other dreams you wanted to achieve?
Yes, I wanted to be a pilot. So one is that, और बहुत सारे goals हैं यार जो मैंने लिख रखे हैं अपने लाइफ में करने के लिए. So pilot being one of them.
Well, sir, now maybe even pilot would drink like your chai.
Sir, how did you establish your culture, like the chai sutta bar culture all over India?
चाय सुट्टा पर कल्चर अगेन, वो माउथ पब्लिसिटी से ही इतना ज्यादा, क्योंकि ये हम लोग बेसिक, हम लोग का टारगेट यूथ रहा है हमेशा. सो यूथ से जल्दी कोई भी चीज कोई वायरल नहीं कर सकता. सो यू पीपल, यू गाइस, द यूथ ऑफ दिस कंट्री हेल्प्ड अस ग्रो, एंड this is the only reason. And I really thank to all of you, whosoever is listening to me, that thanks for to you कि आप लोगों ने हमको इतना ज़्यादा ऊपर लेके आए, इतना प्यार किया, और अब भी प्यार करे जा रहे हैं और भी बढ़ाए जा रहे हैं. So it's all because this culture grew just because of the people, those who are working inside the company, and the customers' love.
Thank you.
So, in the beginning, did you have any idea that you would reach here, like this milestone you have achieved? Did you even wonder about that?
See, imagination तो मैं हमेशा करता हूँ यार, मैं बहुत बड़ा सोचता हूँ. तो सपने देखने में हर्ज क्या है, खुले आंख से सपने देखने में दिक्कत ही क्या है. तो मैं हमेशा इमेजिन तो करता था. और आनंद एक बार मेरे से बोल रहा था कि यार अपन चल मैकडोनल्ड्स की किसी भी चीज की फ्रेंचाइजी ले लेते हैं, किसी भी मैकडोनल्ड्स, सबवे, इस चीज की. मगर पहले बात तो भाई तेरे पास पैसे कहाँ हैं इतने बड़ी कंपनी फ्रेंचाइजी लेने के लिए. ऊपर से अपन क्यों वेस्ट की फ्रेंचाइजी ही हमेशा सोचते हैं. लेट्स मेक आवर ओन ब्रांड एंड लेट्स गिव फ्रेंचाइज इन द वेस्ट. नाउ इट केम ट्रू, वी आर सेलिंग फ्रेंचाइजी इवन टू द गोरास, बीइंग देसी, सिटिंग इन इंडिया एंड डूइंग दिस अगेन. तो का महत्व रहता है, बिजनेस प्लान का क्या महत्व रहता है, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का क्या महत्व रहता है, नेटवर्किंग का क्या हेल्पफुल रहता है, हाउ द अदर वर्ल्ड लुक्स लाइक, हाउ द एवरी डिफरेंट मार्केट रिएक्ट्स एंड हाउ एवरी इंडिविजुअल रिएक्ट इन द डिफरेंट मार्केट. So there are a lot of things which I learned in this, ongoing process, and we are still learning. So I would say the journey which I love the most in this.
Okay, sir.
I would have been doing the job, so मेरे को हो सकता है मैं एक ही फील्ड के बारे में लर्न कर पाता, ये एक ही फील्ड के बारे में समझ पाता. बट इन दी इन दी स्टार्टअप आपको हर चीज आनी चाहिए. You have to be good lawyer, you have to be good finance वाला guy, you have to be good operation वाला guy, you have to be good R&D guy. आपको हर चीज होना चाहिए. You have to be leader, you have to you must be a good orator as well. So there is wholesome process which comes in the journey, and we learn a lot from this.
Sir, so what difference did you feel like in startup in our country and in other countries, like the difference between them, like when you started here in other countries?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
In our country, I think I always used to blame my country. I don't know. It's just another middle class Indian mentality कि यार अपने इंडिया में इतना corruption है, इतना ये है, इतना वो है ना? Ease of doing business अच्छा नहीं होगा. बल्कि मैं तो ये बोलता हूँ अब I realize now after being in this startup community that doing business here in India is more easy. You know, compared to the other countries. I have not been to the many countries, but I have been in touch with the startup of almost so many countries. So I think doing business here in India is very good. Ease of doing business in India is good. I know there is a corruption. I know there is a leg pulling and everything, but first of all you get a very big market. You know, India is a big market. We have a good population. एक तो ये रहता है कि हम लोग इतना ज्यादा पॉपुलेशन वाले हैं तो हम लोग के पास मार्केट अच्छा है, तो बहुत सारी चीजें रहती हैं। तो आई थिंक एक तो मार्केट अच्छा है, फिर उसके बाद में इंडिया इज मेकिंग द स्टार्टअप आर्मी। तो बहुत सारे स्टार्टअप्स हैं जो ऑलरेडी आ चुके हैं, आप उनके साथ मेंटरिंग कर सकते हो, आप उनकी जर्नी को देख के इंस्पायर हो सकते हो, सीख सकते हो उनसे। सो ये सारी चीजें हैं इंडिया, वी आर गोइंग रियली रियली गुड।
So considering team building is the most important thing in a startup, as a startup, how can one attract excellent employees, and more importantly, how to retain them because they always have lucrative options?
After see, if you are going with the right talent, and if you are going to hire the smart people, they must be having the n number of options. But yes, as you said, retaining them is the most toughest job that you have to play. So you have to show them the realistic path which they are going to achieve in the coming future. कि भाई आज आप यहाँ पे हो तो कल वहाँ पे हो। See, as we showed it to the Manoj, and we meant it and we did it. कि हम लोगों ने उसको बोला यहाँ से यहाँ तक हम लेके जाएंगे भाई तेरे को, और अभी भी हम लोग we are working the same way. So आपके एम्प्लॉय को आपको पहले ऊपर ट्रस्ट होना चाहिए। And really believe me, as I recently tweeted कि आप 50,000 रुपए अगर अपने फैंसी ऑफिस में खर्च कर रहे हो ना, इट्स बेटर टू हायर अ टैलेंट वर्थ द सेम। 50,000 रुपए का एक अच्छा बंदा हायर कर लो, बंदी हायर कर लो जो जिसके अंदर टैलेंट हो। सो आपको रिटेन करने के लिए उनको अगर जब भी कुछ भी वो मिशन या फिर टास्क कंप्लीट करते हैं, और तो आप उनको पर्क्स दो, आप उनको उस चीज से नवाजो, उनको रिस्पेक्ट दो। और कोई भी बिना, सबसे अच्छा पर्क पैसा भी होता है, मैं आपको बताता हूँ। तो पैसा भी चाहिए रहता है, पैसा एंड रिस्पेक्ट बोथ। तो आप वो भी टाइम से उनका बढ़ाते जाओ, नहीं तो आपका कॉम्पिटिटर उनको ले उड़ेगा भाई।
So you need to have a vision for the future.
Of course.
So for everyone present here, you can post your questions. If any questions you would like to ask in Q&A, everyone in the audience, they can ask any question.
Sir, till then Deepam sir is asking कि टीम में कभी जोरदार लड़ाई हो जाए तो क्या करना चाहिए?
टीम अगेन आपका विजन मैच करना चाहिए सबसे पहले तो आपके सारे टीम मेंबर्स का। हमारे लिए ना चार सुट्टा पर एक बेबी है जिसको हम लोग ने नरिश किया है, इतने टाइम से पाला है, वी डिड द को पेरेंटिंग। तो आप में आपस में कलेश जो हो रहा है ना, जो लड़ाई हो रही है, वो हमेशा उस बच्चे के अच्छे के लिए होनी चाहिए, उसके लिए होनी चाहिए, आपस के स्वार्थ के लिए नहीं होनी चाहिए। और जब भी माँ बाप में लड़ाई हो ना, तो माँ बाप की लड़ाई से बच्चे पे असर नहीं आना चाहिए। तो जो भी हमारे यहाँ पे लड़ाई होती है ना सर, तो वो हमेशा एक डिबेट होती है, एक प्रैक्टिकल डिबेट होती है, एंड इट एंड अप विद द रैशनल कंक्लूजन व्हिच हेल्प्स द कंपनी ग्रो। और अगर गंदी मछली कोई आती है सर, तो हम लोग उसको तुरंत निकाल देते हैं। फास्ट हायरिंग एंड फास्ट फायरिंग। अगर कोई नया आया है और हमको लगता है कि गड़बड़ है तो उसको निकाल देते हैं। और हम लोग सबसे पहले, हमारे पास ऐसा केस हुआ नहीं सर 5 सालों में, हम लोग सबसे पहले यही देखते हैं कि वो बंदा या बंदी कितनी लॉयल है हमारे लिए। लॉयल्टी, वी कीप द लॉयल्टी अबव देन द टैलेंट। हम लोग लॉयल्टी ही पहले देखते हैं सर।
Sir, did you have any another startup idea apart from CSB?
We are doing We have diversified our business as well. We are into the currently we are coming up with one more F&B outlet जो कि जिसका नाम है 2 बोटी 4 रोटी. It's basically a non-veg QSR cum fine dine restaurant. And one is Anubhav Anand Real Estate, जिसका tagline भी हमारे नाम की इंग्लिश का translation है. Anubhav Anand मतलब experience happiness. So yes, we are working on these. And there's one more Tech Master Gogo जो एक IT company है.
Wow, so much to do.
Atharv is asking that big dream and small budget, how should one proceed with this?
Just start. I mean, small budget. देखिए लोगों के पास जेब भर भर के पैसे हैं. अगर आपका आइडिया और आपके में दम है ना तो लोग पैसा लगा देते हैं. आपको पैसा निकलवाते आना चाहिए. यही तो धंधा है. आप वेट करेंगे कि आपके पास कोई पैसा दे दे तो ऐसे थोड़ी कोई यहाँ पे समाज सेवा करने के लिए लोग थोड़ी बैठे रहते हैं. लोगों को पैसा देखिए, लोगों को सबको बनाना है. एवरीबडी वांट्स के आप उनका पैसा 10 गुना 20 गुना कम से कम 2 गुना कर दें. भर भर के जेब में पैसा. आपको बस निकलवाते आना चाहिए, उनका पैसा डबल करते आना चाहिए. सब पैसा मिल जाता है सर मार्केट में. मैंने आपको बताता हूँ, नॉट जस्ट द मनी, बिकॉज ऑफ द नेटवर्किंग. मैंने जो हम लोग के पास पैसे नहीं बचे थे तो हम लोग को पेंट करना था. तो मेरे दोस्तों की मेरे दोस्त की दिनेश है, कालू बुलाते हैं उसको. आई एम नॉट बीइंग रेसिस्ट, जस्ट वी यूज्ड टू कॉल हिम इन द स्कूल डेज. सो उसकी दुकान थी पेंट की. तो जब भी पेंट वो मिक्सचर करता था, कोई से भी कुछ पेंट खराब हो जाते थे ना, तो वी यूज दैट पेंट फॉर आवर शॉप. हमने वही पेंट अपने दुकान में किया था और खुद से किया था. सो आई थिंक बजट इज नॉट द कंस्ट्रेंट. योर आइडिया मैटर्स अ लॉट. लोग कभी भी ना सर, कभी भी लोग घोड़े पे पैसा नहीं लगाते. लोग पैसा जॉकी पे लगता है. आप पे पैसा लगेगा, आपके स्टार्टअप पे पैसा नहीं लगेगा. आप में कितना दम है, आप में पोटेंशियल है कि नहीं, लोग वो देखते हैं. और है तो लोग पैसा लगाते थे सर.
Sir, there is a lot of competition in the market for CSV. So how do you think about that?
See, first of all, competition is very good for the society as a whole. क्योंकि वो क्या करते हैं ना, अगर सोसाइटी में मेरी मोनोपोली हो जाएगी, मैं 10 की चाय 10 लाख की बेचना पड़ेगी मेरे को. वो लोग पियेंगे नहीं तो घर पे बनाएंगे, मेरी बिकेगी चाय. नो तो कंपटीशन है इसलिए अच्छा है, उसके प्राइस लिमिटेड है, इनोवेशन होता है. और हम लोग भी थकते नहीं, आलसी नहीं होते. नहीं तो अगर वो इनोवेशन नहीं होगा और कंपटीशन नहीं होगा तो हम लोग भी एकदम लेथार्जिक हो जाएंगे. नो हम लोग कुछ काम नहीं करेंगे, बोलेंगे ठीक है यार चल तो रही है. तो कंपटीशन इज फर्स्ट ऑफ वेरी गुड फॉर द सोसाइटी. सेकेंडली, अगर कंपटीशन इतना बड़ा मार्केट है भाई कि हम लोग जैसे अगर 76 और भी आ जाए, 75 आ जाए तो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ना, सबका पेट पल जाएगा. और थर्ड पॉइंट, वी आर वेरी पायोनियर इन दिस फील्ड. वी लर्न, वी इवॉल्व. इट्स नॉट जस्ट कॉपी पेस्ट के 400 बार जैसा प्रोडक्ट, 400 बार जैसा नाम करके डाल दिया, चालू कर दिया, चाय वी चोज चाय एज अ प्रोडक्ट एंड चल जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं होता है. हम लोग ने बहुत ज्यादा रेक्टिफिकेशन किया आफ्टर गेटिंग फीडबैक्स फ्रॉम द कस्टमर्स. बहुत सारी चीजें की हैं, तब देन वी केम, वी इवॉल्व. तो वो है हम लोग का. कई लोगों का नाम से भी काम चलता है, कई लोग अपना नाम कर लेते हैं तो उनका काम चल जाता है. हमारा काम से नाम हुआ भाई. क्या बोलते हैं आपको, 5 साल हमने इतनी मेहनत की तब जाके हमारा नाम हुआ है. सो व्हेन इट कम्स टू द कॉम्पिटिटर्स, हम लोग उससे लर्न भी बहुत करते हैं, सीखते भी हैं और फिर मार्केट में पटक भी देते हैं भाई. क्योंकि हम 5 साल से यही कर रहे हैं, अपने कॉम्पिटिटर को समझते हैं और उनसे सीखते हैं और फिर उनको मार्केट में उनको देखते हैं. और जैसे बहुत सारे 400 बार कॉपी कैट आ रहे हैं तो उनके लिए मैं यही बोलता हूँ कि जैसे कि इंडिया से भी एक पाकिस्तान निकला है तो लेकिन बाप होता है, बेटा होता है. तो यही चीज है. बाकी ऑल द बेस्ट दोज हु आर डूइंग द सेम बिजनेस, विल सी देम इन द मार्केट.
Sir, Janvi has a question. Girls usually don't feel safe to go to CSV nowadays due to the crowd of boys there. How does CSV handle this?
See, for this, there might be some cases. We have in the few places we kept the bouncers as well. हमने bouncers भी लगा रखे हैं. लेकिन कई जगह पे it's all Chasota bar is not different from the society. It comes under the society, आप सोसाइटी में कहीं पे भी जाओगे तो जैसी सोसाइटी वैसे लोग आपको मिलेंगे वहां पे. सो आई थिंक ओवरऑल the entire society have to think about it, and it's a really सैड कि अगर कहीं पे लड़कियां सेफ नहीं फील कर रही हैं, so it means it is bad for the society. We never sold any alcohol or cigarettes in our counters. Still, if the people like this is coming, it means there is something wrong in the society which we have to take care of that. We are looking forward to. We keep on monitoring these things. We have the cameras. We have bouncers somewhere in the some of the outfits. So we are looking forward it क्योंकि हमारा प्राइम कस्टमर्स है भाई, हम लोग तो यही चाहते हैं कि लड़कियां ही सबसे ज्यादा हैं. And in future, and we are working on it कि हम लोग इसको और कैसे सेफ बना सके. Let me show you one thing here in front of you. अगर ऐसा कुछ भी होता है और आप आपको किसी चीज कोई भी प्रॉब्लम होती है, do let us know. दोबारा से आपको कभी भी प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी. That is my assurance.
That's great, sir.
So Manav sir is asking, coming from a humble background, what should be one's approach for a startup? Proper marketing, sustainability and competition research, or just start it?
See, I always emphasize more on the implementation rather than the planning, because planning is good. You have to do the planning, but आपको planning के लिए इतना ज़्यादा time नहीं लगाना चाहिए कि आप यार planning नहीं करते आ रहे हो भाई, लिखे जा रहे. You have to pen down your program. That is fact. You have to do the planning. That is fact. But you have to do the implementation is the major key. Let me give you one example. One is Ola, one is Uber. Uber was there from the very beginning. It is the brain of the Uber कि उसने ऐसी चीज लेके आई, then Ola copied, right? मतलब ओला ने इंडिया में चालू किया, बट दे इम्प्लीमेंटेड इन सच अ वे कि वो उबर उनके सामने काम ही नहीं करता ओला के सामने. ओला ने इतना अच्छा इम्प्लीमेंट किया. इट्स ऑल अबाउट द एग्जीक्यूशन. यू मस्ट फोकस ऑन द एग्जीक्यूशन rather than planning. What is selling chai? What is there innovative in selling chai? Nothing. It's just the execution. We have to make the edge point. एक edge होना चाहिए जो बाकी लोगों से different होना चाहिए. That is the only one thing which you must focus on.
So, who suggested the name Chai Sutta Bar? Like, we know that few founding members are there, but who actually came with this name?
Me, I came with the name.
Well, someone asked it.
Sir, Anupam is asking that how to know if your startup idea is worth to invest your money and time in it.
Very good question, I would say. सबसे पहले के आपने कहावत सुनी होगी, निंदक नीरे राखिए. So you have to keep the critic close whenever you are making an idea. Pitch that idea to the critics and let the outcome come from their mouth. कि वो कैसा लगा. आप अपने आइडिया से प्यार नहीं करना चाहिए कि आप बहुत ज्यादा अपने आइडिया से प्यार करते हो, यार मेरे को यही पसंद है, मैं यही बेचूंगा. मैं आपको अपना एग्जांपल देता हूँ. मैं कभी चाय पीता ही नहीं हूँ ना, मुझे कभी पसंद है, लेकिन व्हाई आई चोज चाय, बिकॉज चाय इज डिमांड थी उसकी मार्केट में. मैं आपको एग्जांपल एक और देता हूँ कि आपको सोना बहुत पसंद है, गोल्ड बहुत पसंद है, तो आप गोल्ड धारा भी लेके जाओगे तो थोड़ी बिकेगा. आपको उसके लिए हीरा नंदा नहीं लेके जाना पड़ेगा ना, पवई लेके जाना पड़ेगा. सो आपको जैसा मार्केट है आपको वैसा एक्ट करना चाहिए. सो आप अपने आइडिया को पहले ठोक बजा के देखोगे, उसको अपने क्रिटिक के सामने प्रेजेंट करो, क्रिटिक अप्रूव करता है तब आप जाओ, और खुद भी सेल्फ एनालिसिस करो उस चीज का कि क्या ये मार्केट में रियलिस्टिक है, ये चलेगा नहीं चलेगा. और इतना टाइम मत लो यार. अगर आपको लग रहा है कि चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, उसमें ज्यादा पैसा नहीं लग रहा है, तो आप इंप्लीमेंट कर दो. यू विल गेट टू नो, खुद ही पता चल जाएगा कि चलेगा कि नहीं चलेगा. कोई भी प्रोडक्ट फिनिश नहीं होता है, आपको धीरे धीरे फिनिश होता है वो फीडबैक्स के, कस्टमर्स के फीडबैक से, खुद से रेक्टिफिकेशन करके, आपके मेंटोर से सबसे बात करके. तो वैसे फीडबैक वो चीज करेक्ट होती है. एकदम सब एकदम मखमल की तरह से पहले नहीं आता. देयर इज अ प्रोसेस मखमल निकालने के लिए. सो वो प्रोसेस को थ्रू जाना पड़ता है. सो स्टार्ट डूइंग इट, इम्प्लीमेंट इट.
Sir, as you mentioned before that there were some highs and lows. Like in the lows, how did you manage everything? Like you again bounced back?
See, in the highs, we not just keep on partying, जब हम लोग का हाई आता है, yes, we celebrate it for a time being, and then we again comes to the mainstream. क्या चलो अब हो गई पार्टी, let's work again. In the lows, we learn and then we work slightly more. जब हम लोग के rather than compared to the जब हम लोग हाईज हम लोग के रहते हैं, जब हम लोग सेलिब्रेट करते हैं, तो हम लोग ज्यादा काम करते हैं। फॉर एग्जाम्पल जब हम लोग के पास में कोविड आया भाई साहब, ऐसी हालत हो गई थी कि हम लोग उसमें बहुत मेहनत करते थे। हम लोग ने काम 2 गुना कर दिया था, हम लोग 2 गुना ज्यादा काम करते थे पहले से। सो इस तरीके से काम होता है भाई।
So Aman sir is asking that have you ever tried to approach big investors?
Actually, there is a other way around. There is one story we pitched in I5 Summit, which is conducted by IIT and IIM in Indore. First time when we pitched, तो हम लोग की तो PPT ही रिजेक्ट हो गई, वहाँ पे गई ही नहीं। फिर हमने जुगाड़ उगाड़ मारा। सेकेंड टाइम वी गॉट टू पिच इन द मार्केट, वो वहाँ पे स्टेज में मैं चढ़ा और स्टेज में फाड़ गया मैंने। और आप लोग को स्पीच वगैरह वो देखनी होगी, तो पिच मेरी वहाँ पे यूट्यूब में मिल जाएगी। सो सारे इन्वेस्टर ने वहीं पे स्टेज में ही बोल दिया था मेरे को, और आप हूटिंग वगैरह सुनेंगे तो विल बी सरप्राइज कि ऐसी हूटिंग हुई। So as I told you, that is other way around. And after that, we started getting so many offers from the very big investor. I will not take the name here, but a very big investor trying to invest in us. But still, we are bootstrapping. We are looking forward to a good investors and the mentors. Let's see how it goes.
Yes.
Great.
Sir, if you had to summarize your journey in 2 lines, what would they be?
My journey, a learning roller coaster ride.
Sir, you have given us so many good knowledge, but any other tips you want to give to future entrepreneurs?
See, yes, मैं जैसा हमेशा बोलता हूँ, I wanted to use the same line again, कि फ्यूचर इज ऑल योर्स। बस आप जो अपनी ये एज होती है ना, ये बहुत मजबूत होती है। इसमें आपकी रिस्क एपेटाइट बहुत ज्यादा होती है भाई। आप लोगों को ना बिल्कुल अटेम्प्ट करना चाहिए। यू मस्ट डू एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, यू मस्ट गो फॉर द एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप। मैं बोलता हूँ हमेशा कि आप कितना भी दौड़ोगे ना, 1-2 हड्डियां टूटेगी तो उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता। इस टाइम पे हड्डियां जुड़ जाती है। मतलब अगर आप 1-2 जगह गिरते भी हो ना स्टार्टअप में, इट्स फाइन, यू विल लर्न एंड विल गेट अप अगेन। बिकॉज आपकी रिस्क कैपिटल बहुत टाइम है यार। थोड़ा आपका ये हो जाएगा कि यार अब हो गए आप 30 साल के, 35 साल के, 40 साल के, कि यार अब तो वही करना पड़ेगा, जॉब भी करना पड़ेगा, गृहस्थी नहीं तो कैसे चलेगी। ये टाइम है आपका रिस्क लेने का, चल जाएगा अभी तो सब काम। जस्ट टेक दी calculated risk and go for it. I wish you all the best.
I would like to ask the audience that if we are going to take a screenshot of our meet, so anyone would like to on their cameras. Everyone, you can on your cameras. We are going to have a screenshot. Thank you, everyone. It's done. Okay.
So thank you so much, sir, for joining and giving your valuable time and words. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Aditi, continue.
Yes. So guys, we have a session on the art of pitching a line. So stay tuned. We'll be having our the next speaker in few minutes.
And please don't leave. It's going to be another very power-packed session. So guys, just wait for a few minutes. Yes, hello sir, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you. So I just want to test my PPT and videos. So how can I do that?
So you can present it. You have an option near the hand raise in the Google Meet.
Okay. Yeah. I need to start, like, do I start now or should I need to wait?
Well, the speakers will guide you through. Anushka, please.
Yes,
go
sir,
on
we will
stage.
begin the session. Yes. Your sales pitch is what decides if you will get a deal or not. So it's very important to nail it down before meeting your customer.
All of us have at some point of time been curious about how companies pitch their sales. There are just too many things to learn from and too little information and time. Today's session will act as a cure to all your curiosity, deliberations we bring you Mr. Dharam Mentor.
Dharam sir is a firm believer and advocates good design thinking is good business. Good design thinking translates into good business for business owners, startups, entrepreneurs. And Dharam sir has his degree in Masters in Branding from University of London and is also an alumnus of prestigious London College of Communication.
So without any further ado, I would like Dharam sir to take over.
Thank you for inviting me. I'll just try to share my screen. Just let me know. Can you guys start seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I need one moderator, please, responding me, because otherwise I don't know whether I'm, yeah?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Sure. So first of all, I would like to thank for inviting me. This is, I always like sharing my thoughts, and this opportunity is really helping me to kind of share some of my learnings on my career, okay? So I hope I'm audible enough. You just let me know. In that case, I'll just increase the volume.
Yes, sir, you're perfectly audible.
Okay. So today I'm going to share with you the behind story, in the sense we all know we have to be good with pitching or public speaking or presentations, because that's really important part of being or to be a successful entrepreneur. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of highlight a few things, and then you'll start seeing the connection between what I'm saying. By the end of this meeting, you'll start seeing that how each of them gonna connect each other, and then how they complement each other. So entrepreneurship is something we very often hear, and we all have a good amount of understanding what it is, and we all have our own interpretation. If I ask you what is entrepreneurship, and some of you will say it's all about doing business or starting business, some of you might start saying that it's a startup or selling products or service, and good number of you might say that setting up a new factory or a new production house or a new service company or a running successful business. All of them are absolutely right answers, okay? Entrepreneurship involves all of them. For example, if I want to look at in a one sentence, what is entrepreneurship? It's all about activity of setting up a business or businesses, and not only just setting up, even running them successfully. That whole activity comes under entrepreneurship. So who runs, in the sense, the person who runs that is called entrepreneur, and you already know that. There's a person who set up these kind of business or businesses, run those businesses, is always called as an entrepreneur. I'm just building a bit context here. You'll start seeing that how they are leading, one is leading to another. So now, when we know that this person is called entrepreneur, and as we know that if you're a musician, you have to have a set of skills. If you're a sportsman, you have to have a set of skills. So likewise, entrepreneur also have to have a set of skills. I'm going to highlight few top-notch skills what entrepreneur should have and how these skills are going to make him successful and achieve his goals or her goals. First thing first, it's a strategic skill. He's supposed to be having or good with business strategy skills. And we all know strategy, and you all might have encountered this word called strategy. Strategy is basically thorough planning. You have to be good with planning, and especially as an entrepreneur, you need to be good with a business strategy planning. The second skill is business management. Entrepreneur doesn't mean just starting a company, but running a company successfully is also as critical as starting a company. That means you have to have managing skills. You have to have a business management skills. Otherwise, you won't be able to run it perfectly. And the third most important skill is problem solving. We all know that whenever you start something, there will be always innumerous problems popping up, and you have to solve those problems in a real time. You have to come up with solutions. And if you have the knack and talent and skill and needful knowledge to address those problems, overcome those problems and provide robust solutions and fix those things. So having a problem-solving skill is very much essential to be a successful entrepreneur. Skill, networking, I don't need to say much about this, and you already know that. If you're in a business, if you want to grow a business, you need to know people. You need to develop this professional relationship. You have to have a business connections. You have to grow your networking. Because business means you have to interact with people, you have to sell your product and service to the people. If you're in a B2B business, you have to still sell your product to another company which is going to use your product. Okay? So having this networking skill definitely helps you, and you have to have. There is no excuse for not having this if you're aiming for becoming a successful entrepreneur. Following skill, which is communication skill, and you all know that not just having a good idea is enough. You need to communicate that good idea to your prospective audience. And for that matter, if you're good with your communication skill, you can better kind of impart, or you can talk about that particular project or idea so that people get convinced with your idea or your whatever theme or philosophy or concept for that matter. Again, a critical for leaders and especially entrepreneurs. Likewise, marketing skill. See, we all know just setting up a company is not good enough. You have to sell the product and services what you're producing. Okay? Until unless you don't sell, you won't be able to make profit. Without profit, there is no company is going to survive. A marketing skill as well as selling skill or a sales skill is a critical. There are a few more things out there, but I'm coming to our core subject, which is art of pitching, what I'm going to talk about today. And I'm just telling that the behind story of art of pitching. If you want to be good with presentation skill or a pitching skill or a public speaking, you have to have these three skills: communication skill, marketing skill, and sales skill. We'll slightly delve a little bit into these things, and then you'll start seeing sequencing about coming together. So art of pitching, like why do you pitch? If you ask this simple question to yourself, why do we pitch? Or why do we do presentation? So in your case, I believe a good amount of audience here, they are studying engineering. and you all must have pitched your idea, or you all kind of communicated your idea to the juries. Okay, there obviously you're selling your idea to your jury, or you're kind of making your jury to understand your idea, and obviously they appreciate and give a good marks to you. But in a professional environment, whenever we pitch, objective is to sell our idea, or sell our product, or sell our company, or sell our services. The objective, the goal of a pitching is selling. Okay. So as I was earlier saying, these three skills: communication skill, sales skill, and marketing skill, they kind of juxtapose, they come together and become a one form when we are doing a pitching. Yes, traditionally there is a silos. There was a sales department and marketing department, but in a later and nowadays, like there's a lot of cohesive and collaboration between sales and marketing. There are a good number of companies, they have a marketing team which does the selling also. But still there are a few companies and a few industries, you need exclusive sales team and marketing team separately. But there are a great number of organizations, they're combining sales and marketing and even communication part of a one entity. Okay, let's look at a little bit about what is the sales. We all heard what is sales, and here and there, and we have our own interpretation as well. But most of the time, whenever I ask people what is sales and what is marketing, they get confused. Okay, because there are very slight difference, because the end objective of both are the same: selling your idea, product, or service. But how you approach to that end goal, sales is more of a direct selling. It involves in-person selling or a deal making. And it's more of a hard persuasion, if I want to say it. So that tone and manner sales use. And marketing, which is indirect selling, which involves advertising, branding, and promotion, etc. It is more of a soft persuasion, but both are pursuing the end user or a consumer. Okay? So objective is same, the path slightly varies. We look at deeply into sales and marketing skills and how we're going to develop those skills, what are things we need to do to develop those. Before that, I want to just quickly jump on giving a little context about myself, and then you'll start seeing that how I use these two skills to my professional career to kind of achieve my success. I strongly believe good design thinking is a good business. As an engineer, you all agree with me that yes, you have to have a fantastic product. And once you have a great product, you need to market it well. You have to sell it well. And that is when you're able to convert that good design into a great business. So both are like, one is complementing other. So having a good designer, good design thinking is essential to create a good business. I born in this beautiful land and India. From there, I moved all the way south to do my education. And after that, I kind of migrated all the way to the Delhi, northern part of India, where I started working in advertising. So as earlier I was saying, marketing involves advertising, branding, and promotions. Of marketing, I learned and practiced when I was working in advertising agency in Delhi. So I worked in advertising for around 8 years, and after that I kind of shifted to Mumbai, where I joined a branding company. It's a brand strategy and brand design. So there I went deep into brand building and brand communication and marketing brands. And that really polished my ability to build brands. And from there, I wanted to pursue a further study. So I pursued my in branding from University of the Art London. This is ranked second in the world university ranking. And that was a good exposure for me to understand how internationally brands are built, how internationally marketeers are using new techniques to build products or sell products or market products. So after that exposure, I came back and I joined a company called DAVV Works. It's again exclusively a brand strategy and brand marketing. So we worked for many companies, to name a few, like ITC and Unilever and Tata, Mahindra, to build their brands. We worked extensively. And from there, while I was working in Mumbai, I had a chance to work in a New York-based branding company. So I wanted to work in an international arena to understand further in terms of their methods and processes, how they follow brand building projects. And they use extensive tools, and the tools and process and methodologies are very important when you are learning art of brand building. So those nuances which I learned over there. I'm back, and currently I am kind of helping. I'm running my own company. Like, we operate from 3 geographies, from Shanghai, from China, and London, as well as Mumbai. And beyond that, I do mentor several organizations in Mumbai and individuals, as well as regarding how to build brands and how to do their marketing, their product and services. So that's a brief introduction about me, like how I kind of applied this marketing, sales, advertising, and brand building to build a powerful brands and build powerful businesses, and how I'm helping a good number of entrepreneurs to develop their ability to pitch or market well or sell their product and services. For subject of the day, sales and marketing. And I want to say one interesting thing. And if you see here, I had written how to polish sales and marketing skills, okay? I strongly believe that we all have sales and marketing skills, okay? We just need to polish it. Just remember your childhood. You'll start seeing that you're a good salesperson, you're a good marketer. Look at the kids, like we all did when we were a kid. So when we were a kid, we wanted a chocolate. We looked at a mother and father. If mother is happy, father is little in a very tempered mode. We went to a mother and asked for a chocolate. If mother is angry, father is happy, we went to father and asked for the chocolate. So we knew these sales and marketing tricks. We knew that the happy person will give you a chocolate. If mother is happy, she's the best person to ask chocolate. If father is happy, he's the best person to ask. So you observe kids, you can learn a lot about marketing and sales, and they know how to kind of navigate this particular thing, how to achieve their goals. Okay? So therefore, I strongly believe we all have sales and marketing skills, but only when we grow up, we start losing them or we don't practice them. So therefore, we need to polish them. We need to rekindle that particular innate ability of ours. So this is one question you need to ask whenever you're listening, anybody, for me or any speakers, like, why should I need to know this? Okay. So because when you ask this question to yourself, why should I need to know about sales and marketing skill? The answer is what really hooks you up. because unless you don't ask question, you don't get curiosity in what I'm saying. So why should you know? I know that a large number of my audience today are engineers, and I know that you all aspire to be an entrepreneur sooner or later. Some of you would love to kind of work for a few years in the industry, then gain some experience and exposure, and after that you want to start your own company. Good number of you want to do a further study, maybe MA or some specialization. After finishing your undergrad, you want to go for post-graduation, and after that you want to get into a business or entrepreneurship. And great number of you might be immediately wants to start. Okay, so I believe you all know this song, and it's very relevant for all the engineers. And that lyric says it's interesting. Some of them are going to become engineers. Some of them are going to pursue business. If the people who are going to finish their degree sooner, they will be enjoying the song. And many of them, you already planned what you want to do in your future career. So as I was saying, whether you are looking for a job, whether you want to do a higher study, whether you want to get into a startup, or you want to start your own enterprise or business, all of them need to know sales and marketing skills. This might sound little, why do we need to know the sales and marketing skill if I'm looking for a job? Okay, there's a kind of a question emerges in your head. I'll tell you in the following slide. You start convinced by yourself when you see those slides. So similarly, for higher study, you have to have the skills so that you get into those universities which you are aspiring. And startup and entrepreneur, there is you have to have this to become successful. So in a job, what happens? Some of you must have given an interview, and many of you are going to give job interview, and there will be a HR person, okay, whom you have to convince why they're supposed to hire you. You have to sell or market yourself in the job interview, or prove why this HR person, why they should select you. So again, there is a idea or art of selling is important. Art of marketing is important. So you have to prove that what is your specialty, special skills and knowledge you have compared to other candidates in that interview. Again, you're selling. Likewise, you have to prove that HR person how hiring you is a more beneficial for the organization. This is one book suggestion. There are several books on this subject, like how you can develop, you can polish the skills of selling or marketing yourself in the interviews. So again, you can see that unless you don't have, or if you don't practice of polishing your skills in marketing and selling skills, you won't be that effective in interview. And the person who's taking your interview, he might not feel confident to hire you. Any other time, you all must have experienced that in your jury, that you had a great idea, but just because of that day, you are unable to kind of explain your idea, the jury could not give you the good marks, isn't it? So selling, explaining, communication is very important to kind of portray your potential. And let's look at in a higher study, whom you have to sell yourself or communicate about yourself, market about yourself. In a higher study, whenever you go, obviously you have to write a study proposal. The professor will read your study proposal. If he likes that proposal, then only he will kind of want to kind of give a position or allow you to study whatever course you're expecting to study. So you have to be good with communication. If there is an interview, a professor is taking you, then you have to communicate well with him or her. You have to convince the professor that you are the better candidate, a good candidate, or you really want to pursue this MA or a post-graduation course. So one more suggestion for you to polish this particular skill. This is an interesting book, How to Get into our Top Colleges. It gives a lot of tips and skills wherein you can learn and you can kind of practice and you can become better. The people who are pursuing higher study, I request that please go through this. This is very interesting reading material. So again, here you can see when you want to pursue your higher education, still this skill is important for you, okay? So the last thing, which is entrepreneur, as I said, you cannot run away from this skill. You have to have this skill because you have to present your idea to the investor, your business idea or your concept of that startup, so that they feel convinced to invest in your company. So I believe that good number of you must be exposed to these shows like Shark Tank and How to Pitch. Again, I request all of you that watch these programs, because you start seeing that how people pitch and how they explain their ideas, how they convince these investors, what kind of questions investors ask, and how the person who's an entrepreneur, and how he answered those questions. So you start seeing that how this whole equation works. It's very important to you expose yourselves to these kind of shows and books to nurture your skills and polish your skills. Okay. So I hope you guys will start seeing that these skills are a vital thing, whether you are getting into a job, whether you're going for your higher education, whether you are starting up immediately your business. I believe that good number of you who are came to listen me or part of this particular initiative, eventually all of you want to pursue some kind of startup or venture or kind of a business. So I believe knowing these things will definitely help you, if not today, in coming years. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
So I told you why you need these skills. Now I'll tell you how you can kind of inculcate these skills, what is that you need to do so that you can become a better. I'm going to give some of my own experience, how I become a better in terms of presentations and public speaking and communicating my ideas and pitching to the client my ideas. So these are the three important things to be a better person to communicate. In the sense, if you want to polish or if you want to be effective or compelling speaker, you have to consider these three things. First thing is that understand who is your audience, okay? You need your audience. So today I'm giving this talk. I kind of did a little background study. A good number of you are from engineering background, and then you all have this liking for becoming or starting your own business eventually. And knowing that is important because you know the audience. And the second thing is that telling your audience what value you're adding to their life or their well-being. So the second step is that what is that I'm going to add to your life? You have to communicate very clearly. And last thing, which is ability to present, the communication skills. and how nicely you put it across your ideas so that other person can see your idea clearly. Okay? These are the three very important things you have to be better in terms of or nurturing art of pitching. Okay? Let's go a little deep into these aspects. So first thing, understanding audience. In a previous slides, I already kind of demonstrated if you're going for a job, you know who is your audience, the person who is taking your interview. Sometime HR person or the person who is from that company who's taking your interview. So you need to kind of read this person and you need to kind of, he's your audience. You need to address that person. In the case of higher study, the professor of that university. In the case of startup, obviously, if you're raising money for your business, the investors become your audience. Things you need to convince or you need to tell your audience what value you're adding so that they can hire you. So in this case, to HR person, you have to prove that you have a good knowledge and you have a great skills of whatever that interview you are giving. If it is for hardware company, maybe you talk about hardware. If it's software, obviously you're kind of demonstrating your skills regarding that particular stream. In the case of professor, you have to kind of communicate through your written proposal in an interview that you're really passionate learner and you want to do this MA or post-graduation because you want to gain more knowledge about about the field and you want to contribute in that field, and as well as you use your knowledge for betterment of the society. When you communicate this to the professor, he will understand your larger goal. He might consider you as a better suitable candidate, okay? So you have to show the value why he should hire you or she should hire you. In the case of investor, you have to communicate your investor that like if the investor invests in your company, his return on investment will be very good. ROI, he will get to see ROI very quickly and he can make a great amount of return of investment on his investments, okay? So you kind of show that promise, okay? So what you are giving to your audience is very important. Like as I'm saying, the skill of communication, presentation is all about your ability to communicate in such a way that people will spellbound or it's compelling in a manner the listener will obey or adhere with your whatever you're kind of explaining that. Okay, so in the case of job, your good presentation skills help you to convince the HR person so that you will get a job in Infosys or any Tata Motors. So your presentation skill, your ability to communicate smoothly, your ability to communicate impactfully will fetch you a job. So in the case of a college, your ability to present or presentation skill help you to convince the professor so that you can get the seat in that particular course in college. Likewise, you'll gain a money or you'll get an investment from an investor to run your business. So I believe that a good number of you must have watched Elon Musk's videos and you know a lot about his ventures, and from his Tesla motors or Tesla car to whatnot. Like he is into many these companies, and according to me, he kind of have this knack of pitching. He kind of used very different kind of technique to convince his his prospective investors or shareholders. And I will show his one of the video. You can see that how he kind of explain about his venture so that the listener will start seeing a meaning in it. So let me share the video. Then I will just kind of build some context around it. So let me know whether you can listen to the sound.
Idea behind
you guys can hear the sound?
Behind this is to have a first.
Yes, sir.
I'll start from beginning so that you guys can listen, we can discuss.
Idea behind behind this is to have the first fully and rapidly reusable rocket, which is that's really the holy grail of rocketry. If you can have a fully and rapidly reusable rocket, orbital rocket, then the cost of transport of a ton to orbit drops by about 2 orders of magnitude, maybe better. So, just as a word for really any mode of transport, if you say had aircraft or cars that were not reusable, you would see very little use of aircraft and cars because you'd have to buy a new aircraft every time you went somewhere. And if you traveled somewhere in a car that was single use, you'd have to obviously tow a small car behind you just for the return journey. So
I hope it was clear in terms of audio. If you look at that, how he's trying to kind of show a value in that rocket company, then he was kind of bringing this new way of looking at this transportation. There's a reusable rockets and how reusable rockets going to reduce the price of flight or sending anything into the space. And he used a comparison example. He said that just consider that aeroplanes are meant for only one-time use. If you're going from here to New York, it's just one-way kind of a thing. Then aeroplane would have cost you a lot in the sense that is still you can fly to New York, but it was one time in the sense that ticket cost will be very high. Aeroplanes are reusable, so it will take you and then you come back, and then therefore the cost of flying is cheap. So he used that particular example. Then he kind of, when he communicating the power of his idea, he said that why can't we kind of use the same technique, reusable rockets for sending things into space, and then reusable rocket definitely going to reduce the price because you're using the same whatever rocket again and again, obviously refueling it, but that is going to reduce your transportation cost. So I know that many of engineers here, you guys know much better regarding the rockets and engineering side of it, but as a communicator, the way he's kind of making his point across to his investors and audience, that through the comparison he's showing the value for his business or value for his idea. He's trying to sell this idea that reusable rockets. So I request you guys to keep, whenever you guys get time, just go through some of his videos. He's a really good, in my view, a communicator in terms of selling his ideas. So you can learn a lot from him. Another person whom I admire a lot in terms of who really kind of taken marketing and sales and pitch to a very different level, and he's in my view, for me, I learned a lot from him, so I consider him as an ideal person in terms of how he pitches and how he sells his ideas. So I'll share one of the video, then we can kind of little discuss about his technique of selling ideas.
I've got a pocket right here. Now this pocket's been the one that your iPod's gone in traditionally. The iPod and the iPod mini fit right in there. Ever wonder what this pocket's for? I've always wondered that. Well, now we know, because this is the new iPod mini. All right.
So, as I was saying, that he is basically pitching his product, and he's talking about his product, or he's launching his product. The kind of a trick or a technique he used to kind of prove his point that this is a mini iPod and it's so small. Then he used denim, that small pocket, as a metaphor, and connected with that, and he created a whole story. Storytelling is one more important part of becoming, when you are pitching, you have to plug in certain stories. That's going to make it very compelling, the idea which you're selling. And this guy is a master of kind of bringing those stories in his presentations, and hence these presentations become very effective. So the people who are going to pursue entrepreneur, or who wants to pursue a startup, or who wants to become successful in launching new products and services and companies, I kind of request them observe Steve Jobs' presentations, and you can learn a lot, like how he tried to communicate a new facet of his products, how he tried to build the context around the product, and how he created that excitement in his presentation. All of them are really important, because you have to engage with your audience, and you have to create that joyful atmosphere when you're presenting, when you're selling your ideas. So he was really good. So I kind of request you guys, just whenever you guys get time, just go through some of his thing. So somewhere in today, like in our beginning of our presentation, like I kind of explained to you, like any profession, whether you want to be a sportsman, whether you want to be a musician, there are a set of skills you have to have, or you need to polish those skills, or you need to inculcate those skills to become better in those areas or fields. But similarly, if you want to be effective entrepreneur, again, I said that you need to kind of start developing your ability to do brand strategic skills, okay, business strategy skill. Again, you need to know the problem-solving skills. And like that, I kind of explained to you how communication skill and marketing and sales skills are important, and how all together come together and helps you to be better. What do you call it? You can say a public speaker or a communicator, or you kind of become a master in pitching. So that is somewhere which I wanted to bring into your awareness, that developing skills and polishing skills are important to become a better communicator or win the pitches. And as an entrepreneur, you have to win the pitches. And I talked about why it is important, because you become more influential if you have that skill. So how this is going to help you, again, I demonstrated that it helps you to get a job. It helps you to get a better college seat. It helps you to get the investor's money. Okay. And lastly, I told you what you need to do to develop or polish these skills. I had given some actions, like I suggested a few books. There are many more books on this subject. Whenever you guys have time and search on these topics, you'll get good number of reading materials. Please go through them. Then you start picking up one or two tips on techniques and practice them on a daily basis so that you'll become better. And I requested you guys just watch this Shark Tank and you'll learn a lot. How to present your concept, how to use metaphors, how to use some examples. As I was, you guys are seeing in Steve Jobs, like how he used the mini pocket to talk about his product, and then how he narrated the story. And when you watch this Shark Tank, you'll see like there are a good number of entrepreneurs have a very interesting presentations. You can learn a lot about presentation, delivery, and pitch. So that is somewhere I'm going to kind of coming to end of my presentation. And this is, you can reach out me on my LinkedIn. I generally like spreading knowledge. So therefore, on my LinkedIn, every day, a good number of time, like I'll put a lot of my articles and reading materials and tips and techniques of brand building, marketing, sales, and how to do a presentation that I keep on doing. And another thing is that, as I was telling you, that I love spreading knowledge. So therefore, I do conduct master classes on several subjects, like brand communication to brand management to design thinking. And I do conduct workshop. Recently, I conducted a workshop on visual research. Again, this is finding out new ideas for a business for Symbiosis MBA students. And then I do conduct on a design thinking. Again, this helps you to develop a better idea to start your own startup. So that I'm teaching MICA students in Ahmedabad. So again, I do put a lot of those, whatever I share in those colleges on my LinkedIn. You guys can follow me so you guys can be in touch with me. Any kind of questions you guys have, you can ask, you can just text me. If whenever I get time, I'll answer them. And this means LinkedIn, and I have Instagram. You can check it on Dharam Mentor Instagram. Again, a good amount of materials, reading materials I put there. So that is it from my side for today's presentation. Before I kind of close, I kind of want to share with you 2 reference books. So by that, this will kind of help you further. I believe a good number of you are aware about this book. It's called Influence. It talks about persuasion. How do you become a better presenter? How you can pursue your audience or whatever, whoever audience is in that case. And it has got a lot of psychological studies that's going to really help you. You need to understand human psychology to be a great speaker, because you're speaking to the people. If you don't understand human psychology, I think you will fall short. And there's another book, again, it talks about human psychology. How do you put your idea into somebody's mind? As I was discussing with you guys, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, they are really good with implanting their idea into the audience mind. So if you want to be really good and master your capacity and ability to be a better presenter, you have to learn psychology that's part of a parcel. Yeah, so that's it from my side. If you guys have any questions, I would love to answer. And if you have a lot of questions, you can send me a mail or you can text me. whenever I get time, I'll answer them. So that's it from my side.
Thank you so much, sir. We are all really illuminated by your words, and I'm sure we have lots of questions. I would now like to call Gaurav, sir.
Sure.
Answer.
Yes. Good evening, Dharam sir.
Yes.
Sir, your presentation was really insightful. Sir, I too have a startup and would like to ask you a few questions. May I?
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Sir, many a times we are stuck between critical analysis of our own work and letting it go forward. So I would like to take your opinion on where should we draw that line that we need to let it go forward or need to keep analyzing it?
If I understand rightly your question, I'll repeat it. You just correct me whether I understood rightly. Okay.
Yes.
So there are two parts to it. Okay. One is that as a startup, as entrepreneur, you have an idea or a product or a concept or whatever. Okay. You have a certain conviction about it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I believe that. Otherwise, you don't start a company. You don't have a conviction. You don't believe your own idea. That's absolutely fine. You have to have that conviction. And obviously, as I was telling you, you have to remember three things: audience, and what that value it is going to add to the audience, and how do you communicate to them. See, for example, you have a great idea. Currently, in your perception, it's a great idea. It is absolutely a great idea, no doubt about it. Okay, but now you need whether to invest in your company or manufacture it or buy your product. Okay, that means it's going beyond your territory to the others, isn't it? So they also needs to get convinced with your stuff. Okay, so this is something we call it like initially when you're thinking an idea, just have a strong idea what you like first. Then you start customizing, you start testing it. I think you guys know about pilot project. So you do a test, you do a pilot project, you show it to the 10 people, then see that their reaction, how they're reacting to it, then you tweak it, then you kind of finalize it. So I see it's a kind of a process. Okay, you go with a conviction, then you test the power of that idea and acceptance of that idea. Then you iterate it, then you kind of make it possible. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir, definitely. Yes, sir.
Because, yeah, you should have a conviction, but you have to iterate before it hits to the market. Because people need to see value in it. So today, if I ask that, like, good number of you have a Zomato app in your, Uber's app in your mobile. Because you see value about Uber. Okay, you know the value of Uber because it helps you to do things faster. And it is easy to access apps. Okay, so if that service is not really compelling as an audience to me, I never download that app. Or the end user needs to see value in it. As an entrepreneur, we should show that. Make their life better. How it is going to enable their life. So that.
Yes, sir. That's clear. So my next question is that what do you think are the important pillars in a startup in terms of a team? And what skills should one look after while we are choosing a team member? So what skills should we look after in them?
That's a very good question. Again, you know very well that there are several types of startups. Yes. To technology, to your transportation. Okay. And each of them need a different kind of skill sets. So broadly, three things are important in any startup. I think you guys must have heard this: feasibility, viability, and desirability. If you see that it needs to be feasible. Okay, feasibility in the sense, for example, if I take a Zomato, okay, as a startup, they started long back, but now they become a big. So when they started, they looked at a feasibility. They looked at the user. They use IT technology to make something as an app. Technically, they made it feasible. Then they looked at a viability in the sense ROI. how much they need to invest, within how many years they are going to get the return back, monetarily profitable or not, that they look at it. That desirability, whether people want these kind of products or not. A convenient way of online. Yes, people are looking for convenient things. When these three things come together in a right proportion, that is when those companies will become successful. With coming over the scooter, electric scooter. And if you look at that, yes, petrol is costly. We all know that. So switch to there's many reasons. One is environmental reason, the petrol reason, and again, electricity scooter, they look smart. All of that is there. Like there's a desirability factor is on. And as an Ola, they made it possible. So they have their own production company or whatever factory in Bangalore. So they're able to produce so that they're not importing from outside. So there is no additional tax on them. They're able to produce a product within the range what it could be affordable for Indian consumer. Okay. And obviously they raised the money from investor. Investor know that if I put the money in Ola electric scooter, it is going to give me a return because people are switching to electric scooters. So if Ola makes a petrol scooter, maybe investor won't put a money because it's a reducing industry, petrol, because petrol is costing more. So they do that feasibility study, then they investor investing. Ola they made it feasible with having their own factory. As a consumer, love to own an electric scooter because it's good for environment and many other things as well. So in your startup company, you have to look at that, what kind of product you have or service you have. And you look at the technical skills, that kind of skill you need. You need another skill, the person who can kind of narrate that. Okay, you have a product, but that needs to be communicated. And if you have somebody who can kind of good with narrating things and making it very compelling, that talent works for you. The third talent works, somebody need a managerial skill. I was reading about Peter Thiel. You all know about Peter Thiel's 0 to 1 book. I believe all of you must have read the book. It's about good startups or successful startups do one thing. They have very young blood with all the creation happening. But they hire a manager to run that company who has got a 20 to 25 year experience. Because to manage, you need experienced person. To come up with new idea, you need a fresh blood or hot blood, and a youngsters you need. So maybe you can do that combination. To manage things, you need somebody very senior with understanding that field, because he knows all the books. To innovate, you need a young blood. To narrate a story, you need somebody who's good with presentations or narrating story. Am I making sense?
Yes, sir. So basically, to sum it up, we need a dynamic team structure.
Yes, you need multidisciplinary. Because if you all are software engineers, you just keep on making it better and better and better, but you don't know like whether how to sell it.
It will work.
Yeah. You have a consumer waiting for you or not.
Yes, sir. So my last question is that sometimes it happens that we put our best work in the whatever we are doing, we put our best efforts in it, but still the client or the person rejects it.
Yeah.
So how do we deal with it and how to avoid that situation in the future?
Sure. You can't slap the client, so you know that. So that's not the way. So what is the next best? Slapping is the best thing, but we can't do that. What is the next best? Next best is that you do analysis. I think as an engineer, you all know that. If some engine fails, what you do, you analyze. Okay, what went wrong? Is it the oil is less? Is it the screws are loose? Is there some malfunctions? You start analyze rationally. The client, whomever you presented, he disliked your concept. Just rationally analyze in a 4 or 5 steps. He didn't like because of maybe it is not viable business. He may not get his return on investment. Or is it because of he doesn't think it is complete thought. It is haphazard thought. Is it because he might be not liking it because there are similar products in the market? There is a huge competition in the market. So you have to do a rational bifurcation, like surgery of that, why they didn't like it. And then you start seeing that if they didn't like because they're not convinced with our idea, that means next time I have to put more effort to make that convincing effort. If they say that, okay, there are already 2 products in the market, you'll be third person, we won't make profit. That means what is that additionally you add to your product? So by that it becomes exclusive in the market. Getting my point? See, two-wheeler is a two-wheeler. They added a battery and motor. And you know that battery and motor has been there last 100 years. So somebody brought it together, it became Ola. Somebody brought it together, it became a Chetak electric scooters. So somebody made it feasible. So like that, you need to kind of dissect and see it and then improve it.
Okay, sir.
Make sense?
Yes, sir, definitely. Thank you, sir. Like, these were all very...
Thanks.
Sir, Meghna has asked, how can we analyze ourselves that we are now master in a skill?
Master in?
How do we analyze that now we are a master? Like, how do we know that?
Okay. That's a tough question. So one of the things I think you all engineers know that comparison is the one way. In the sense, you look at the best in the industry, then you compare with that best with you. Then you start seeing that where you are matching with that person's skills and where you are lacking. So for example, I told you, I always compare myself in the sense, I can't, but I always see like Steve Jobs as the greatest communicator. So always look at that, how I can develop, how can mastery my ability to pitch like him. So then I learned that how you use a metaphor, stories to communicate. So that's how I test myself. This person also can see that, like, if she wants to test her mastery, she has to look at who is the peak in their particular stream and why they are peak. First analyze, then compare. Is it they're good with storytelling? Is it they're good with explaining? Is it they're good with their expressions? Is it they're good with their vocabulary? What is that making them click? What is that making them star? So then she can look in herself that, do I have those spark in me? One way she can kind of evaluate herself.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So Priyansh has asked, how much importance should entrepreneurs give to marketing and branding?
Rather than less important, more important, I would like to say that, see, look at, like, if you come up with an idea as an entrepreneur, if you come with a product or a service, okay, it needs to be bought by consumers, isn't it? Manufacturers electric scooters and it doesn't sell or nobody buys it, there is no business. So at the end of the day, it needs to be bought or consumed by a targeted consumer. So it's, if I say that it is a kind of a completion happens, any company that it produce a product and it market a product, then consumer buys it, that's how cycle completes. So you cannot kind of ignore or kind of avoid marketing and sales, because that is where the completion happens. Say, for example, I studied like 8 hours for 300 days and then I did not appear in a final year exam. So you see that if you don't appear in a final year exam, you don't pass. So you might be having a great idea or a great entrepreneur, but if you're unable to sell your products, you're gone. It's a little harsh, I believe. It made the point, I believe.
Yes, sir. So Angad has asked, can you tell me how to check whether the idea for a startup is great or not?
Yeah, there are several ways. There are several tools are there. I won't be able to elaborately tell all the tools. Again, it depends upon the kind of product or a service you're doing. So for example, if I say that Uber, for that matter, like I'll give a Bombay context. in Bombay, the taxi before Uber, I will tell you that it was a very pathetic situation in Bombay, and especially in rainy season. If you wait for a taxi for hours and hours, there are many taxis are there on the road, but when you ask them to come to this place, they say, no, we're not going that side. So it's a really annoying things dealing with the taxi guys and using a taxi to reach our home. So when Uber came, like Uber understood that consumers or travelers are facing this problem. Okay, so Uber, just it is stress-free. As a consumer, I go by Uber because it really helps me. I'll just sit and according to my convenience on my phone. Action. I don't need to have a money also. Like it will happen everything from my smartphone. So they understood need of the consumer. Then they use information technology. Just see this scenario. Uber was not possible maybe 40 years ago in India. Okay, because that time we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have smartphones. We didn't have GPS. We didn't have internet connections. So technology maturing and the consumer facing a problem, you use a technology to address that issue. That's how Uber kind of showed its significance and then it became a brand. So likewise, whatever idea she has to see that whether that idea is a need of the kind of, she has to do some pilot she has to do kind of some digging and see that like how many people are waiting for this kind of ideas. Are there a million people are waiting for these kind of product and services? That means tomorrow onwards she'll be making a lot of money if there are a million people waiting for her idea. So like that she can evaluate. That's a authentic way of evaluating.
Yes.
So any tips for future entrepreneurs regarding branding and marketing to help them grow their business at initial stage?
Yeah, I think if you look at it nowadays, this whole marketing and sales has evolved over decades. You know, once upon a time, if you talk to your previous generation or dads, there was a silos, like sales was a department, marketing was a department. Later on, marketing, sales become one and it become much more a brand building exercise. Okay, now there's one more thing happened recently, past few years. If you look at it, Zuckerberg, whether it is Elon Musk, number of entrepreneurs like who started and become a billionaires, they themselves is the face of the company. They advertise, they themselves advertise, okay? They themselves become a brand. So Elon Musk doesn't spend money on making his Tesla motor advertisements, but he himself come on the stage and he talks about his product, and that will broadcast it all over the world, and everybody sees it, and it's almost like advertisement for his products. So young entrepreneur, I see that you can use that because we are in a golden era of building the brands. So today we have YouTube and all social media. You can do live broadcasting. So you just present your idea yourself. You become the face of the organization. And good number of startups are doing that, from Ola's owner to Twitter owner. He just recently quit, but he has been there as a face of the Twitter for a long period of a time. So my request is that for a startup guys, just try to be in the upfront and try to talk about your product, and you become the face of the organization and build the brand.
Thank you so much, sir. I would now like to call Shashi, sir, for his vote of thanks.
Sure.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. And most of all, Mr. Dharam Mentor, good evening, and I'm very thankful to you for coming over this evening and having such a captivating and you can say mesmerizing kind of talk. Really, I can't have a moment attention out of your lecture for a moment even. So it was all so much of information just flowing from every word of you, what you spoke. Really, thank you. Thank you. And I must be thankful to the students also, E-Cell, who have been inviting such good speakers, experts, and spreading the message of entrepreneurship, startup culture in IET. I must appreciate actually both of the speaker, today evening's speaker, Mr. Dharam Mentor's surname is Mentor only. That is he's mentoring. Like you can say that it is in his blood itself. Like second surname is mostly it is lineage. It tells. So it's a kind of oozing out from what he's speaking from that part itself. Then we had another speaker. I am thankful to him also, Mr. Anubhav Dubey, and very, very distinct. Two are very distinct in a sense, I must say. One was overflowing with the theory, and another was saying, yes, you leave the theory, I'm implementing the things. And he implemented the things, and founder of Chai Sutta. And he says, no, theory to mujhe nahi aati hai, and I know, but I can raise up a successful startup, and which is not only successful in India, abroad also, branching out. So had it been a panel discussion also of 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, it would have been very great evening. Even though now also it's a very great evening, I agree. But somewhere maybe we teachers always keep on giving some advice here or there. So E-Cell would have done that. It would have been terrific, I think. And best for other students also, take cues from what all is discussed here. So much of knowledge overflows. If you are engineering background students, and this is an interdisciplinary kind of knowledge which is coming over, practical aspects of practical experience of so maybe 10 years, 15 years, 20 years experience, 30 years experience. So no better opportunity for you people. I thank everyone. Thank you all, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for allowing.
I would request everyone if they can switch on their camera so we can take a screenshot with Dharam sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining this session.
Thank you.
Hope you all had wonderful time and all are leaving with knowledge and wit. Don't forget to follow us on our social media handles for more updates and information. Thank you.
Sir.
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Dharam sir.
Bye, guys. Bye.